Okay, welcome to the Crow Discovery Project. We're going to look at the new 2-camera system I'm using to help me vet objects. We're going to see visual with a telephoto on top of the scope and then full spectrum with the scope. Okay, I'm sorry, at the bottom of the frame, I'm going to run this again. At the bottom of the frame you're going to see a shadow come through slowed down. Now these are very easy to identify. And there it is. That's clearly a bird, and with the additional depth of field of the telephoto, we'll get a sharp image of this. Look at the bottom of the moon there, and you'll get your confirmation that it was in fact a bird. Then we're going to get into things that are not so easy. You're going to see a circle come up on screen, and it's following this. Now, out of the two objects I'm going to show you, this is actually the interesting one, just a bit harder to see. There were a number of satellites around the moon. There goes center frame. There were a number of satellites around the moon, but none that took this trajectory and none that actually did a transit according to the tracking data that I looked at. And there is endless sites that you can check. I check a couple and I check Stellarium. And there I am trying to use auto lighting to see if I can track it. Watch the circle again. This is a little better zoom. And this object is in a perfectly straight line. One thing about the full spectrum camera is it is so bright. If I shot that with the visual spectrum, it's coming in at the right here. There it is, going across. If I shot that other thing with the visual spectrum, it would probably look black like this object. Now when I shot this, I thought, now there's maybe an interesting object, but it has to go through the tests that I will do to try to determine. One of the things I do is I lay a flat line, and what you can see is a very organic up and down motion to this, and then it ends up dipping below that line. So that fails a test where I will not call it an interesting object. I am in fact calling this an animal, some kind of a bird. And you can see there the kind of organic up and down movement away from the line, back down to the line. If it doesn't pass this test, there it is dipping below the line. If it doesn't pass this test, I will never run it as an interesting object. There are a couple of tests I do, but that one is pass or fail. There I use the auto lighting to see if I can track. I could not track that object, which is another indicator that it is probably not an interesting object. Here comes the object at right one last time. When I first saw it on the monitor, I couldn't tell whether it was tumbling or what it was. I knew I would have to get it in the editor to do the test, and with the 2-camera system, it's a lot easier to ID these things than it was before. Alright, now we're going to load the actual interesting object. It's going to come in at the bottom. Now you're going to have to use your eyes on this one. It's moving up. It's its center frame there. And that is in a perfectly straight trajectory. So that is in fact some kind of a device. Not a very big one, I would add. Of all the things I shoot, that one is tiny. And we'll take another view of this and I'll circle it out so you can get your eye on it in case you had trouble with that last view. And there it is with the full spectrum camera and confirmed with the telephoto. So there it is. There's the vetting process of the 2 new cameras to try to ensure that what I post is worth looking at, and cheers.